Hey guys, it's Will here, and I'm finally back. Now, it's been too long since I've had a video up. Basically, after my holiday, I then went down with a really nasty cold, which left me unable to film anything for a couple of weeks because I was losing my voice. But I'm basically back to full health now, and raring to go with loads more content. And today, I thought I'd start showing you my new Necromunda gang. As you can see, they're assembled but not painted yet. I want to do this now so I could show you some of the modelling choices I've made, and also some of the tactical choices I've made. So the aim here with this House Escher gang is to primarily be using them in campaign sort of gang wars type missions. So although I probably will do a bit of the Underhive box set as well, which is obviously where these girls come from, I'm planning mainly to do the campaigns. So that's why there's only 9 models here, because this is what I've worked out as exactly 1,000 credits. So I'm just going to go through who's who, what they're armed with, how I've converted them, and yeah, why I've made some of the choices I've made. So I'm going to start off with my leader. Still need to name all of these, but yeah, she's going to have a suitably impressive name at some point. And as you can see, I've swapped out both her weapons, so gone for the standard leader model but with the weapons swapped. So on the gun here, you can see I've had to do some green stuff work there, trimmed away the parts for the bolter, but still had to use part of the component because the collar on the jacket is on the bolter arm. So I've gone for a plasma pistol there, which I've also had to trim off at the shoulder, and then some green stuff in to tidy that up. That's probably the hardest conversion I've had to do with this, and even that wasn't too difficult once I found where I'd left my green stuff, because I had a right old job finding that. On the other hand, we've got a power sword. So this arm is the standard arm that would normally hold the electro whip, but I've gone for a power sword, literally just trimmed it off at the top of the hilt there and replaced it with the sword. So that's quite straightforward, and I think this is going to be a better loadout for my leader. It's a more dangerous gun, that I think also works out as being cheaper and a much better weapon. You know, the whip's not bad, but the power sword for the leader with her extra attacks and the ability to parry with that is a really good weapon, and definitely wanted to give that to one of my best fighters. Keeping that in mind, I got a power sword on my first champion as well. Now, she was a bit more straightforward to do, no real conversion on the sword arm there, it's just straight out of the box, so power sword on her. But for the gun, you see here, this is actually a shotgun. So I've trimmed off a few of the parts from the las gun that she was modelled with, or that arm piece was modelled with, and replaced it with a barrel from a shotgun. So she's got a nice shotgun power sword combo there, making use of her both high weapon skill and high ballistic skill, to give her 2 solid weapons. You know, the champions have got the best stats, so you may as well give the good weapons to the people with the stats to make the most of them. And that philosophy continues here with my my second champion. So she's got the plasma pistol there, which is the stock component, but I've put it on the running body, so she's really sort of like leaning forward and running as she fires that. And then the whip is the whip that I trimmed off from my leader's sword, and just replaced that where this arm was previously holding. I think that previously had the power swords. I've literally just trimmed off the components there and swapped the weapons around. And for most of these as well, I've gone for the hairstyles that aren't traditionally shown with that. So like the running legs would have had the ponytail on it before, and things like that. Just trying to make them different from each other rather than looking like the stock models from the box. Then I got 5 gangers, because you need a good amount of gangers, just for nothing else, give your gang some bulk, and allows you to include extra stuff, because you can only have as many non-gangers as you have gangers. So starting off with this girl with a chem thrower, I'm a little bit up in the air about how good this is for the value. It seems like a very expensive weapon, but you could potentially do a lot. But ultimately it was like, that's a really cool looking gun, really cool concept. So I wanted to wanted to have at least someone with that, and because it doesn't roll to hit, it makes more sense to put it on a ganger, because they've got the lower ballistic skill anyway, so give them the weapon that doesn't roll to hit and save the high ballistic skill of your two champions for things like plasma pistols and shotguns. Only really swapped out the head on this one, gone for like the mask over the mouth there, the bandana, so she's kind of protected from the smell of her own chem thrower, but other than that went pretty much the stock model on that, because the chem thrower fits better with the particular body. Then I've got a ganger wielding dual pistols, so we've got the auto pistol, las pistol, designed to sort of get in close, maybe gain the gunfighter skill down the line if she becomes a specialist, so she can, or gunslinger, whatever it is, but quite like this sort of pose where she seems to be firing two directions. Reminds me of a Signar Warcaster from War Machine, whose name escapes me right now. It's Alistair someone, I think. Lieutenant Alistair Kane, that's it. They got the sort of firing in two different directions. I thought that looked pretty funky, especially with the mohawk and then the sort of enhanced optic on the eye there. So that's pretty cool. And then got three gangers with las guns, because you just need some basic las gun guys to just keep the enemy pinned down. They're not, I don't expect them to do a lot of damage, so I've got these three at the back here. As you can see, I've left the guns unattached for painting, so they'll be glued on eventually. So this one, I thought the hair looked quite nice, because there's an old Escher model in basically that pose that has that hair from the original Necromunda, so I thought, yeah, give that a go. She's firing the las gun. Another one, really just sort of fitted that one in, because actually the las guns didn't seem to fit very well with the bodies. These ones that are holding them across their chest were a real sort of fiddle to get right, and I'm still not 100% sure I'm going to be able to get them on easily once they're painted. I may have to do a bit of pinning or even a bit of last minute green stuff work on those, so it's a bit of a nuisance. So for the last one, instead of going for one that was across the body, I went for the one that's sort of slung over her shoulder, so it's the same component as I used for this champion. And as you'll see, there's no stiletto knife on this, unlike when it's shown in the box, and that's because, quite frankly, especially on a ganger, I really don't rate the stiletto knife. It's 15 credits for a weapon that, even if it wounds and gets through the armour, has the potential to still not do any damage, depending on sort of a toughness roll-off. So not a big fan of the stiletto knife at all, and that's the general feeling I'm getting from a lot of people on the internet. So with these knife arms, I've literally just trimmed the knife off from the fist, so she's just got an open fist, because it's just as reliable, or just as unreliable, depending on how you want to think of it, and doesn't cost me 15 credits, and you know, if I got the credits further down the line, could stick an axe or a club or a power sword in there. And then finally got my Juve, so I only had the creds left for one Juve. Originally wanted two, and then realised that didn't leave me with enough gangers to actually do it. I was like 4 gangers, 2 Juves, 2 champs and a leader, which left me over, so I had to rejig the list slightly. And she's just got a las pistol at the moment, see how she develops, and she may well get remodelled. And that's the thing with Necromunda, your gang develops over time. So I've got one model here that, as you can see, literally has no arms, no head at the moment. So yeah, if I want to change the armaments on some of these, I don't want to start clipping already painted models, and you're not really meant to take weapons off the models anyway, you're meant to just add them on. So that'll be for remodelling somebody else down the line. I've got a second box of these on order, so as the gang expands I can add more to it. And tactically, the basic plan is going to be that the sort of form into 2 groups, because we want to work together. Escher, not being as tough as some of the other gangs, need to keep together. So I have my chem thrower, my champion, my chem thrower, my leader, and my champions form kind of, or one of the champions and maybe the double pistol girl form like an assault group, who are going to get forward, get up in the enemy's face, while the las gun girls and possibly the champion with the shotgun keep a bit further back and provide covering fire. The Juve is really just there to plug any gaps, maybe grab an objective. I don't expect her to do a lot, but I do expect her to grow fast and become a much more valued member of the gang as time goes on. As for skills, I haven't fully worked it out yet, but I'm thinking either inspirational or mentor for my leader. Inspirational to help with those call checks, because Escher don't have the greatest call stat anyway, or possibly mentor to allow the girls around her to gain experience a bit faster. There's a couple of other ones I particularly think are nice for Escher. Maybe step aside on one of the champions, because they're going to be getting into combat anyway, so let's give them a way to survive. Maybe spring up for perhaps this one with the shotgun, so she can, if she gets pinned, she can get up again for free. But might want to sort of have a few practice games before I decide for definite. But yeah, it's been really great fun actually putting these models together. There's a lot more flexibility than you'd think, but you still have to watch out because some of the components just don't fit into where you'd expect them to fit. So you have to really plan your build. But yeah, there's some nice models, and I'm looking forward to painting these and then getting them out on the table. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.